Hello.
What's up?
Good morning, my people. How we doing, you guys?
Good morning.
How are ya?
Fantastic.
How's everybody
Friday.
doing today? I'm the coffee lady.
I'll be back with your coffee.
You guys, Boogie says hi.
Good morning, Boogie.
Good morning. Lauren, where are you headed with your pup? To the park?
Going back home, it's actually just started to rain.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Miss Kayla's in the house. Do you guys know that I like to call her six-pack Kayla? Because guess what? It's only a matter of time till she'll get a six-pack. Where's she at? Probably making protein pancakes for her babies. Start them young, baby. What's up, Tammy?
Hey,
Where are you going?
I am headed back home in a hurry to start my work day. I'm late.
Where were you?
It was scan day.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I haven't logged in to look at anything yet. I don't have time, so I'll do it later.
Okay, got it. Keep us posted, though. How's everybody doing? What are you all drinking this morning?
Coffee.
Coffee? How do you guys like your coffee?
I don't.
I put a little bit of protein in mine. I used to put the whole thing, and now I'm down to about that much. So.
There she is.
Hey, Kayla.
Kayla, you're the one who is gonna drop all the knowledge bombs. Why are you taking notes?
I don't know.
It's a great habit.
Yeah.
Guys, do you know that you can be better listeners when you take notes when you listen? That's why I always have this in front of me. Kayla, are we ready to get this party started?
Sure.
Okay, amazing. Just one moment. I'm asking you if you're ready, and I'm like, let me get set up. One sec.
We have been potty training this week, so it's fun.
Well, I'm going to recognize you in just a second. So I have a question for you, but I think we should wait like 30 seconds for that. All right, so everybody, if you can just do me a favor and please unmute yourself so that we can all just listen into all of Kayla's wisdom. That will be epic. Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. I love Fridays when we have like one of our members from our community join us and talk some amazing like truths to us about their journey, because you know it's every day you hear things, right? But like when you hear a message from somebody who's going through a similar journey to yours, like it's so much easier to retain because you're like, this is no BS, right? For one, Kayla, thank you so much. So today we have Mrs. Kayla Akers. She's a wife and a mom of 3. So, you know, knowing that you have 3 kids, how old are they?
I have a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Okay, so all 2 years apart. Was that planned, the 2 years apart?
Pretty much. That was our idea, but it wasn't necessarily planned. I had issues getting pregnant, so after the first one, that just kind of seemed to be the pattern.
Sure. So, okay, let's get right into it. So this is, I mean, man, like ever since you've joined our community, for one, like you're so freaking special, and all of you guys are. But like when Kayla came in, she came in with a storm behind her. I know about you guys, but like that storm came all the way to California, and like we could feel it, and we're like, Erin, let's keep our eye out on this one. So let's talk about the journey before you even started like losing weight. Let's talk about the environment that you grew up in. You know, like as a teenager and just like, you know, in general, is your environment a part of why you got to your heaviest? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I don't remember a whole lot at a younger age. I know that I had issues with food. I would overindulge to the point that I would physically get sick. And then I would go in, I would get sick, and I would come back and I would eat again. I can't exactly say what age I started doing it, but I remember doing it for several years. I really didn't have a terrible environment as far as food. I mean, my mom was a single mom of 4 kids. So a lot of our foods were, you know, like quick foods, Hamburger Helper, you know, stuff like that. The stuff that, you know, she could afford. So we didn't get a whole lot of, I don't know. I don't want to say we a lot of our fruits and veggies, you know, were what she could afford.
Sure.
I just really, really, really loved to eat. She used to tell me stories when I was little that her best friend, I think I was maybe 2 at the time, her best friend would love to come over just to feed me biscuits and gravy every morning.
Would what? Say it again.
She said that her friend would come over to feed me biscuits and gravy every morning.
Okay.
That was her favorite thing to do. That's why I said at a very, very young age, I just had a love for food. She said I refused to take a pacifier because like it would make me mad because there was nothing in it. I gave up the bottle once I realized what food was. I mean, like my passion for food has been like my entire existence. But it just seemed to just get worse as the years went on. I used to have a name when I was younger. My uncle would call me Miss Piggy. And I would just kind of feed into that. I'd play into that. You know, I thought it was cute at the time. And it wasn't until later years. And, you know, once you get a nickname from a family member, it's like you can't get rid of it. You've got it for the rest of your life. And it kind of stuck. And I would go around, you know, I'd push up my little nose and I'd snort. And it was all big fun games. And after a while, it's like that kind of becomes who you are. You know, you hear it so much that you believe it.
Totally. So I want to touch up on a couple of points, but really quick. Red Herring and Tina, can you do me a favor and unmute yourselves, because I am unable to mute you and to be mute yourself real quick, just because I want to be fully present. And I like, do you hear these like background noises too, Kayla?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to mute all for a second. So Kayla, give me 1 sec, and then I'm going to unmute you, Kayla. No. 1 second. Okay. Kayla, can you say something just to make sure that
We good?
Yeah, for some reason, whoever Red Herring is, I'm unable to mute you. So if you can please mute yourself, that'll be great. So, you know, you're touching up on a lot of good points. So like, you said that ever since you had the opportunity to eat food, like you were basically like addicted to it because you loved it so much.
Yes.
Right? So we are going to touch up on the concept of food addiction. Also, you gained a nickname by your family that was called Miss Piggy at a very young age. And you guys, this is something that's really important to note, because whenever people call us certain names, it becomes a part of our belief system. And when we define ourselves in a negative way, like Miss Piggy, because we believe it, because everybody around us calls us that, that is a trap. That is a trap. So you are who you define yourself to be. You are who other people define you to be. Now, yes, you can escape from that, but until you become aware that you can escape from that, you're going to live in that trap. Okay, so your mom's friend like would even like feed you biscuits and gravy because she knew that you were like basically addicted to food. And like, you know, let's get very visual. Let's keep it like raw and nasty, okay? Like when she would come over and feed you biscuits and gravy, like because I want to like get such a strong visual of like, what does it take to get to 300 pounds? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how would you eat it? Like, how much biscuits and gravy would you have? Like, what was your normal back then?
Right. I really don't know. Like the way Mom said, she said it was like a fascination. You know, she's just fascinated about how much I could eat as such a little person could eat so much food.
So, okay, were you overweight from a young age then?
I don't think, I mean, I was huskier, but I don't think that I was, you know, really, really big. I don't think I was obese. But I've always been heavier. I know that I was at one point in my time, I don't know if if you're familiar with husky jeans. They're boy jeans. They're like boy carpenter jeans.
Okay.
And they're made for huskier boys. I got to the point in elementary school that I had to start wearing those jeans because I was too big to fit in the small kids section, but I was too short to fit in the women's clothes.
Okay, and how old were you back then?
I want to say that I was probably in the 4th or 5th grade. I was anywhere between 3rd and 5th.
Okay, so from a relatively young age, you already started to kind of like go against the grain in the sense that you were already like way beyond like what the norm had expected you to be due to your love for food, right?
Yes.
So now you said that you have 3 siblings as well, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about them, like, you know, as far as their body composition goes. Like, were you the bigger one?
I was. My brother, he was pretty big when he was a baby. I believe he was 67 pounds at 2.
Wow.
However, yeah. But he really didn't eat a lot. That's just the way his body packed on weight. But then from like 2 to 10, he gained like very little. It's just kind of like he all packed it on when he was a baby, and then he just kind of stretched out. So I've always been the fat sister. I've always been the fat cow. You know, the names the siblings give you. Both of my 2 other sisters, they were both cheerleaders, popular, skinny, so very, very sociable. I'm the very awkward person. I'm the background, a wallflower kind of person. So it's intimidating to have siblings like that.
Sure. So obviously we now understand that like it's not because everybody around you was like extremely overweight that you became this way. It's because you just have an addictive personality and you happen to fall into to become a food addict at a very young age, right? So this is interesting. So all of your siblings were actually like the complete opposite of you.
Yeah.
and they would make fun of you too.
Yeah, my mom was small. My mom did not start gaining weight until she hit her 40s. It was like mid 30s, late or early 40s that she didn't start gaining weight until later on. So everybody in my house was very small, including my dad, which my dad and my mom divorced when I was much younger. But yeah, it was just me. I was the overweight one in the family.
Okay, so the reason why I want to bring it up is because there is the concept of nature versus nurture. And normally, if everybody around you is overweight, it's due to their habits. You become what your environment is. However, you became, to the size that you got to, which we'll get to in just 1 second, because you were a food addict. So it had nothing to do with your environment. It just had to do with, your addictive personality and your love for food, right?
Right.
So give us some benchmarks just so that we can all have a visual of where you are at certain stages of your life. So like, let's say when you were 12, how much did you weigh back then? Do you remember?
I don't remember how much I weighed then. I know that I am currently at a weight that I haven't seen since my teens.
Yeah.
Since my early teens.
Okay.
But we didn't have a scale in the house, and I really didn't, you don't really think about your weight at that age.
Right. But already in 4th grade, like you had to wear like husky pants, whatever. So what? Yeah, 200 pounds as a teenager. So like your weight just kept on going up and up and up and up and up, right?
It fluctuated while I was in school, but I was embarrassed to eat at school.
Yeah.
Because I was already marked as a fat kid. In my eyes, you always, in your mind, you think that people are a lot more cruel than what they really are. You have people out there that are cruel, but you just kind of build up this image of what everybody is saying and what everybody's thinking about you. So you tend to beat yourself down more than what other people do. So I would be embarrassed to eat at school. I would go and I'd stop at like the soda machine. I'd get me a soda, and I would get me a bag of chips or something, and that's pretty much all I would eat while I was at school. It was when I was at home, which is probably kind of what set in my kind of destructive habits that I'm into now. Like I can go most of the day without eating, and I won't even think twice about it. And then come, late afternoon, it's just I excessively eat. I sit down and I feel like, okay, I'll just have one, and then before I know it, like I'm back for like my 6th or 7th helping.
So something that's really interesting, and if anybody in the room has ever struggled with food addiction, can you do us a favor and like drop a comment in the chat box? Because this is something that I know that I personally struggled with for a very long time, but it wasn't all sorts of food. It was just one thing. The concept of shame. Something that I know from my own personal experience is that when you are addicted to eating something, you're very shameful about it. For anybody else who's ever struggled with food addiction, right, of any sort, did you also feel the same way, that you were very shameful about it? So like, Kayla, what would you like? What are like your go-to things that you would go for, when you couldn't control yourself? Was it like anything?
My most, I typically, I like the sweets, the sugars.
Sure.
And like the baked goods, Little Debbie's, ice cream. Those and chocolate. Those are my big ones. And even now I struggle with them. Trying to keep them away, but then like I feel like I have no impulse. Like I have, once I get a taste of it, it's like I have zero impulse control.
Yeah. Jason, welcome. Can you do us a favor and please mute yourself because I can't mute you? Okay, so what weight did you weigh at when you were at your heaviest?
299.7.
And was that the moment that, you know, basically changed your trajectory with regards to your journey and where you're at right now?
Once I realized what I weighed, I didn't realize how much I weighed until I went and started at the gym. But once I realized that that's how much I let myself get to, I said, I absolutely refuse to be 300 pounds. There's no way I'm going to let myself hit that limit. I've struggled at 200 for years, and I said I refuse to do it for 3.
Why did you refuse to be 300 pounds? Like what was the meaning of 300 pounds for you?
That was not the first time I almost hit 300 pounds. I used to work at a local hospital, up on the surge floor, on the med surge floor. Mm-hmm. And we had a patient who was 400 pounds.
400 pounds?
Yes.
They probably couldn't even walk, huh?
Yeah, no, she was about my age, and she couldn't even roll in the bed. It took probably about 4 or 5 of us to roll her over in the bed. There was, I mean, health-wise, I mean, you know, medically, she was in there for a procedure, but medically, there was nothing wrong with her. Other than the fact that she was overweight, you know, her body wasn't able to support her and carry her. And at home, she had people take care of her. And it was just kind of like a wake-up call, like, wow, this woman is my age, and I am just 100 pounds less than she is. And like, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to be to that point where I can't do anything. At that time, I had 2 kids at home. I'm like, what am I going to do with them? Like, how am I going to take care of them?
Yeah, for sure. So let me make sure that I'm understanding you correctly. So basically, because, you know, you knew what 400 pounds looked like, and you saw what life looks like that way, when you weighed at 299.7, you were probably like comparing yourself to that person, right? And you're like, if I don't change my ways right now, it's only a matter of time till I get this far, mm-hmm. right? And it sounds like you had a very strong why. So you're like, it doesn't matter like what's happening, like I have to, you know, change that, correct?
Right. Yeah, like I said, that wasn't my first time. I was almost at 300 pounds. I couldn't remember what I was last time, but it seemed like every time I decided to lose weight, I got pregnant. I would drop 30, 40 pounds and I'd get pregnant. So after I had the baby, after I had my last one, I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get back into this. Well, I had complications with my C-section.
Sure.
So I didn't get right back into it. And then I fell back into old habits, and then it just got kind of swept under the rug again. On top of that, I had postpartum depression. At the time, my doctor was just saying, you know, it was baby blues. I'd tell him, you know, I just don't feel right. You know, it's just terrible. And he's like, oh, it's baby blues. You know, you'll adjust. And it just wouldn't go away. And at this point, I was working in a psych unit. I was working in a geriatric psych unit, and it was just getting worse. And I told my boss, I was like, look, I just can't do this anymore. I can't help a patient get right in their head if I'm not right in mine.
Right.
And then that's when they found out I had postpartum depression. So at that point, I quit my job. I was in school at the time. I quit school. And my husband had just started doing full-time truck driving, so he was on the road. So I was with the kids at home by myself all the time, which probably contributed to the last bit of my weight. I mean, I lost a good bit of weight after Alec was born, and then I just turned around and gained it all back. I was sitting on the couch. I was moping. I was just like, I wasn't suicidal. And I didn't want to hurt the kids, but I didn't care. I was at the point where I didn't care what happened to me.
Yeah.
I laid here on the couch and I died today. I'm okay with that.
Oh, wow.
And I was just scrolling through Facebook one day and I seen a post. This woman, real bubbly woman, was talking about a week free of a training app that she was doing. And I signed up for it, and I went the very next day and I signed up for the gym, and I just kind of stuck with it from there. I realized how much I weighed and how much I'd let myself get to, and I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be that person that can't do something with their kids because I can't move. At that point, I wasn't able to do my proper hygiene. I had issues tying my shoe.
Sure.
I mean, like, I was so big. I mean, I had more trouble tying my shoe just being morbidly obese than when I was pregnant. And, you know, they say, like, the one thing of pregnancy is like, oh, you know, you can't reach your toes. Like, I reached my toes better as pregnant than what I did being obese.
Sure. So, okay, I wanna bring a question and reel it in for all of you guys. I want you to take a second to think about your own weight loss journey. Okay, so here's the thing about weight loss, and we're gonna get down to like the journey and what it really looks like, especially like losing 100 pounds in just a little bit. But you don't just wake up one morning and say, I want to lose weight when you really want to. Like most people, there is a big difference between it would be nice and I have to do this. There's a very big difference. And normally, when you are committed to that level, then that is associated with a lot of pain. So I want you to, while you're listening to this right now, like think about a point of where were you at before you were fully committed to yourself? Or if you've been struggling to actually like get somewhere with your weight loss goals, then the question that you should ask yourself is, do I think that it would be nice to be at that weight, or, living a certain life and having a certain body, or is that something that I have no choice but to do? So Kayla, I want to take a second and think about the conversation that you had in your own head when you made that commitment, right? Like it's like an internal switch that gets turned on when you want it, not when it would be nice. So most people really struggle. I mean, there's a lot of reason why they struggle, but if they've been trying for a long time and they haven't lost it, it's because one of my theories is that they live in it would be nice land.
Yeah.
But for you, it was like, no, pedal to the metal, gotta go. Right? So like,
right.
Let's talk about that internal conversation real quick.
Well, to be honest, what started it, I mean, getting in there, what kept me going was just the fact that I hated my body. I hated the person that I was. I was a very, very miserable person. I was miserable to myself. I treated my kids and my husband like crap because I felt like crap. And it just, so I said, and then I started thinking of the things that people would say, growing up, the names that they would call me, how that I would always be a fat person. Like I would never, I would never be anything else. And I kind of use that as my fuel.
Yeah.
And I would like to say it was easy. I didn't want to go. Like people tell me like, oh, I wish I had your
discipline.
No, not discipline, motivation. And I'm like, listen, I'm not motivated. I am not motivated to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. I am determined to not be fat anymore. There is a difference.
You're determined to not be what?
Not to be fat.
Do you guys hear that? How many of you guys have said, I'm not motivated? You guys, motivation is not a thing. It's
No.
not a thing. Nobody is motivated. You become motivated. And the only way you become motivated is when you have a very strong reason to do so. Because humans are lazy beings. We've mastered one thing, and it's to stay in our comfort zone. Because in order to make it this far, we were chased by tigers. We had to get through the ice age. We're over it. We're over it, right? So, you know, we're lazy. And that's why, you know, so many times we hear, I need more motivation. I'm like, no, you don't need motivation. You need more clarity. You need to ask yourself, do you really want this, or would it be nice? So Kayla's thing, right, in the back of your head, you're not like, oh, I'm motivated to work out. You're like, I feel like shit. I hate this so much right now, but I'm determined to not feel this way. You were so fed up. So you're like, I have one option and one option only, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, if you're taking notes, okay, there's a few things that, you know, we have to consider. For one, it's the difference between it would be nice versus I have to. Like, have a conversation with yourself. And like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want it? Right? Like, if you're anything below a 9, you're living in it would be nice land. Because guess what? Kayla, let's talk about the sacrifices that you had to make now.
Well, I really don't see them as sacrifices now. When I first started, it was all about, you know, man, I'd really like to be sitting home watching my show right now. They just put out a new season on Netflix that I could really sit down and watch. Man, I would love the free time without the kids, you know, my downtime. Because now I'm spending 2 hours at the gym. I have to go straight home, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do this to try to do all catch up. I don't get to sit down and relax. I have to cut out all of these foods, which I'm still working on the food. I'm a lot better than what I was. But like now I don't see them so much as a sacrifice as like an investment.
You just like, and that's why that's why it's the difference between it would be nice versus I want to, right? Here's the thing, you guys, in order to gain anything in life, you have to give up something else. And that's called a sacrifice. It's an exchange, okay? Life is just full of exchanges, right? You know, man, I mean, in anything in life, right? Like you want to get a shirt. Okay, you gotta exchange it for money. Okay, like you want to break a sweat. Okay, you gotta exchange that for movement. Anything in life. You want to get laid. You gotta exchange that by being extra nice to your husband or wife, right? Just hoping to make you guys laugh on a Friday morning. But you know, life is an exchange, right? But it's a train of thought. Okay, like it's all mindset. So this is really important because so many people live in the land of, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, which basically means I'm just not ready to change, right? So this is not a sacrifice. This is an investment on who you're becoming. This is an investment in who you are becoming. So man, I mean, your mindset is so on point, and that is why you're going to get to the top.
Oh, I'm going to get there.
What?
I said, I'm going to get there. It's going to take time. I'm slowing down now, but I'm going to get there.
Yeah. You know, because that's just a part of the process. Like the leaner you become, the harder it gets. But that's what it takes to be the best. That's why when you climb Mount Everest, how many people make it to the top? Just a few. It's like, sorry, 1 second. I'm like choking over here. Everybody wants to climb Mount Everest, but only like a few make it to the top, right? Because it's all like what's between the ears. So here's the thing. Look, I'm really inspired by you because I know that I had to lose some weight and I know that I got far, but like losing at least 100 pounds and still having so much more to go is like, that's something that I personally have never experienced before. And does anybody in the room ever had to lose that amount of weight? Jeanette, I think you dropped like about 100 pounds. But drop a comment in the case that you did. We'd love to know. What went inside your head when you knew how long the road was going to be?
It's scary. When you look at the large number, I sat down and thought, okay, I need to be at 140. That's my goal. And I started adding it up and I was like, man, that is such a big number. Like, I'm never going to reach that. Like, I don't know how I'm going to reach that. And I said, I've got to do it. It's something that I've got to do. So I started breaking it down in small goals. I'm like, okay, 160 pounds, that terrifies me. Okay, so let's set a goal to lose 20 pounds. But I want to lose 100 pounds for the year. I want to try to reach 100 pounds by my 1 year mark from the day that I started, the day I walked into the gym. And at first it was, it was 10 pounds here and it was 5 pounds there. And then it added up to 20. And then, I went up to 30 and 40. And like, by this time I started getting attention. Like, people started noticing at the gym. And they pushed me. They were helping me, you need to try this, you need to try that. I had been there for about 4 months. I'd done the same program, the program that I was with. I'm still a part of it, but I've outgrown it. It was an amazing place to be in the beginning, but I've advanced out of it. So here I am, still 4 months into it. I hit my first plateau. I'm pushing hard. I'm trying to get there. Still not seeing anything moving. My inches, my pictures, my scale, nothing's changing. Still wearing my headphones because I refused to talk or to look at anybody. Everybody was staring at me, so I could not make any eye contact. I could not listen to a word they said. And the guy came over, and he was standing over me. I think I was doing flies, and he was standing over me and looking at me. And I pulled out my headphones, and he's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm working out." He says, He said, "You've been doing this too long." He said, "We need to get you on something new." He said, "You've been here long enough. Time's up. You need to get moving." And he had me doing bench presses, and he had me doing this and that, and like I just kind of soared from there. I found out how much more I like lifting weights, doing free weights. Because before, mainly it was just barbells. It was barbells and machines, or dumbbells. I'm sorry, dumbbells and machines. And he's like, "No, we got to break away from this. Your body's getting too used to this." He said, "You're not even breaking a sweat." He said, "We need to move you up."
I love it.
So it was just absolutely amazing.
So the reason why I want to bring up this point is because so many people give up on themselves before they even achieved anything because they focus on the finish line instead of focusing on the next stoplight. Right? So for anybody who is in this room, it doesn't matter what your goal is, right? Whether it's weight loss, whether it's body comp, the concept is to simplify whatever you're doing. So like Kayla broke down 100 pounds to chunks of 25 pounds. So it would not be as overwhelming, right? Because if we think about how far we have to go, like in a straight shot, our brain, again, our lazy brain, our lazy ass brain is like, I'm not doing that. I don't even know how long it takes. So simplify it, right? Like so many people focus on I gotta lose 60 pounds by the end of the year. I'm like, focus on your first one and then let's get to the second, right? And that's why so many people give up, is because they think about the destination instead of thinking about their next step. How easy is it to lose 1 pound? Who in here has lost 1 pound at least 10 times in their life? Right? But how hard is it to lose 100 pounds? It's the same concept, lose 1 pound 100 times. So it just goes to show that if weight loss was solely physical, it would be really easy. And that's why losing 5 pounds is easy. And that's why people gain and lose weight all the time, right? Because weight loss is actually really easy. However, sustainable weight loss is hard because it's all in here.
Yeah.
It's all in here. It's about simplifying overwhelming terms, because this is a long-term game for everybody who's in this room. I don't care what your goal is. For me too. I've been at it for 10 years, but it's all about breaking your goals into very small, achievable steps. That way your brain is like cool, calm, collected. You get to work, and then you're like, okay, reset. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so who is this guy who walked up to you?
He is, he's just another gym member. His name's Mark. And he's probably the biggest pain in the ass in the gym. He's just one of those older vet guys, heckles everybody, always up on his soapbox. He acts like he's this big old, burly thing, but he's nothing but a big teddy bear.
Sure.
And he's usually the one, I've got other gym members, they compliment me. They tell me I'm doing a great job. They want to hear my story. They want to know how much I've lost. He's usually the one that's like, no, you can do more. You can push a little harder. You can do that. Quit acting like that. You can do, there's no reason for you to be doing that. So most of the people that I work out with are older men. I usually go first thing in the morning because they have nursery times and it's like,
yeah.
So usually the people that I work out with is a bunch of older guys. I've tried the evening people. They're a lot younger people, and I don't know. I just don't feel as comfortable with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the morning people are dedicated, they're consistent. The evening people are normally more there for happy hour.
I say that I feel like my inner mama comes out because I'm usually yelling at them to pick up their weights. Like they're those ones that just leave stuff everywhere. And I'm like, if your mom was here, would you do that? Like, pick up your daggone thing.
I love it. Yes, call them out. So good. So, I want to talk about the concept of mentorship. Here's the thing, you guys. We don't know what we don't know. And do you think you would be where you are today if it wasn't for Mark telling you need to stop doing that same shit over and over again?
No.
Exactly. So
no, and like this Mark, I there's a few of them. Like there's one guy in there, he helps me with my he gives me tips on running. I have another one that helps me and gives me tips on nutrition. I mean, we've got a couple CrossFit guys in there. I'll bounce, ideas off of them. So like I really feel like the gym that I go to is just big community and everybody's looking out for everybody. You know, it's not like, you know, oh, you want to know a secret, you know, pay me $20.
Right.
It's great.
So let's talk about the concept of community real quick, because, you know, I want to hear it from your experience. We know that community is really everything and anything in life. In fact, I believe that life is all about the human connection. But do you think that without the community that you're in, well, you actually are in a few communities, right? Would you be on top of your game as much as you are right now?
No, I don't believe so. I believe if I would have stuck to the same routine that I was doing, that I would have probably got discouraged and I would have quit.
Yeah. You guys, and that's why we have this community. Because we need each other's support with regards to anything in life, right? Like, for one, we don't know what we don't know. So if we keep doing the same thing, we are going to get stuck, right? And there's nothing wrong with being stuck. But again, being stuck is a mental game of you either need to switch things up or most people will give up. But it's a lot easier to keep going when somebody else is pushing you, or when somebody else is, you know that somebody else cares about you, right? How many times in your life did you push a little bit harder on that last rep because you knew somebody was watching you? Right? That's why whenever I have a hard workout, I actually go on Instagram Live. Right? It's for accountability. Accountability is everything. Okay, so I do have a couple more questions for you, and this is epic. Are you guys having fun? Thumbs up if you're having fun. Yes, yes. Good. Okay, amazing. So something that we always say is weight loss is not so much about, you know, the number on the scale, but rather who you become in the process. Let's talk about Kayla of right now versus Kayla, you know, a little bit over a year ago when she stepped on the scale and saw 299.7. How different is Kayla now?
Mentally, I am very different. That's why I said, like you said, you know, working out itself, it's easy. It's the mentality of it. Because not right now. Because your muscles can train. I mean, relatively easy. Your muscles can train. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but after they adjust to it, they do real good. It's the mental game of it. It's telling yourself that you can do it and actually believing it. That's the hard part. Hold on just a moment. Here you go. Sissy will open it. Oh. Sissy will open it. Go ask Sissy. Yeah? Go ask Sissy. You don't say no. But I used to have, I call them come to Jesus meetings with myself in the mirror. You want to know something hard, stand in front of the mirror and talk to yourself. I feel that that's probably one of my hardest things that I've had to do, because you can't hide. It's something. But I'm not so down on myself now. I used to trash talk myself a lot, and that was probably one of the hardest things I had to learn how to give up. Because like you start telling yourself these things, and in the beginning you don't believe it. You don't believe any of it that you say. But after a while, you start to actually believe it, and you start to see it, and you start to feeling more confident about yourself, and you start learning how to love yourself. So my body is not, I have bad moments. My body is not where I want it to be, but I appreciate and I love my body more now than what I did starting out. I hated myself. I mean, to be honest, I absolutely hated myself. I detested everything that I was. And now I don't feel that way. I love myself entirely. I'm a completely different person. I surround myself with positive people. I've excused myself from other people's lives that are more focused on the negatives, and that includes family members.
Say it again. Say it again.
I've excused people from my life, and that's including family members. I realized that I could not be a positive person towards myself and in my life if I was surrounding myself with all the negative people and all of their noise.
Yep.
So I had to hit the mute button. I love them, but I love them at a distance.
Man, you know, this is so powerful because this is the deep work, right? And when everybody sees weight loss and they see somebody's transformation photo, whatever, like you see the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that's
But real sustainable weight loss requires a lot of overcoming and getting through shit. And that's why weight loss is hard. Because detaching yourself from somebody and letting yourself, you know, get free, or, you know, doing whatever it takes that's the right thing, becoming, right? It's not easy, right? So I think for women, one of the hardest things is, for one, saying no to others. But I think we said it on yesterday's call. You can't say no to somebody else if you don't know how to say no to yourself. So like you have to take it one step at a time. And that's why like fast weight loss doesn't work either. Because if it happens fast, then there is physical manipulation, but there's no mental manipulation. And without mental manipulation, you won't know how to sustain it, because you haven't focused on becoming. And that's why people who lose weight fast, that's why bikini competitors, figure competitors, that's why I freaking despise bodybuilding. Though everybody always asks me, you look like a bodybuilder, what do you do? I'm like, don't call me that shit. Because they focus so much on the external rather than becoming, that the minute they step off stage, they poof up like a balloon. And now they scar themselves for life. Right? So my next question to you is, tell us some of the lessons that you learned over the last 100 pounds.
Weight loss is hard. It's brutal. And I don't think that you'll ever stop learning things. I'm a year into this, 100 pounds less, but I still have a lot of work mentally and physically. And that's okay. It's okay to not have a perfect day. I used to beat myself up pretty bad when I would have a bad day. But I've learned to give myself grace on those days and not let them derail me. Used to, I would have a cheat day, and it would turn into a cheat week, because I'm like, well, you know, I screwed up today. What's another day? And then what's another day? And just learning that it's okay. It's okay not to be perfect, because there's no such thing as being perfect.
Amen.
That's what I tell my girl all the time. She drives me crazy with the, I don't know who taught it to her, but practice makes perfect. And it drives me crazy to hear her say that, because I feel like in my mind, it's like you have to practice it until you get perfect. And you can drive yourself crazy trying to reach perfection, because you're never going to reach it.
Wow. Right. That was amazing. You're never going to reach perfection. And that's why anybody, like, you know, in our groups, you know, the concept of perfectionism, all or nothing, is like a real thing that our community has. And I'm like, you were at like -30 with your habits when you started. What makes you think that in 7 days you're going to get to 100 when I'm not even at 100? Like, you know, like, it's one of the most terrible mindsets to have, because it leads to self-sabotage. Because when you think that way, you can actually never understand what success looks like. So you're always going to be unsatisfied, which will increase your chances of you giving up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's like the kind of personality that I have. Like you said, I have a very addictive personality. I found this out at a very young age. That's why I try to steer clear of things. I actually used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore. I quit smoking right before my daughter was born. But I started smoking because I thought it was going to help me with my eating. I thought, okay, you know, smoke more, eat less, which was not the case. But I also, I mean, I've known it my entire life. I have an all or nothing personality as well. That's just my mentality. I'm either all in or I'm all out. There is no in between. That's like my moods. That's anything that I do. So that was a really bad habit to break. I think what helped me break that is actually just probably about 6 months ago. I was lifting weights, and I was determined that I was going to hit 200 pounds, and I ended up hurting my shoulder doing so. So that's when I kind of realized, you know, I was lucky. It was just a tweak, just a couple weeks rest, you know, it was great. But it was kind of like an eye opener, like, okay, you know, you don't have to bull your way through everything in life. You know, this is something you should really take serious, and you should, you know, gradually move up instead of trying to just hit it, because, you know, your brain says you're going to do it, you're going to hit it. Doesn't mean that your body's ready and that you're going to do it.
Sure. Absolutely. And, you know, the road is full of unexpected things. And something that we always say is that it's not in life, it's not the weight that you carry that's going to crush you, but how you carry it. Right? It's how you respond to all these adversities that's going to make or break your success. And, you know, I think the concept of practice makes perfect that we hear the little kids say is just an average way of thinking that the school system teaches.
Right.
Right? Because the school system also teaches that failure is bad. But Kayla, didn't you learn from every single failure that you had?
I did.
Failures.
And this is the one I said, you know, I failed so many times before. This time I want it to be different. I want to see what it's like not to fail.
Yeah. But what is the difference this time?
I'm learning from my failure. Instead of giving up, I'm learning from it and I'm growing.
Exactly.
I absolutely love when I fail at something in the gym, because that just gives me something to work towards.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mindset thing. So many people give up. They're like, you know, start January 1st, this year, new year, new me. Come January 21st, they went to a party, they fucked up. I'm a failure, right? That's something that the school system teaches, right? That if you fail, then you're a failure. There's a difference between, you know, failure being an event in your life versus failure being the character that you give yourself. An event does not define your character. right?
Right.
Just like if you cheated on your diet, does that make you a cheater?
Yeah.
It does?
If you cheat on your guy, it makes you a cheater. Yeah. I mean,
It's how you see it. Does that make you a cheater on your husband? I mean, you're a cheater. See where I'm going with that? I just want to challenge your thinking. Like, an event does not define your character, but it could be if you let it, right?
yeah, if you don't learn from it.
Right, exactly. If you don't learn from it. Okay, so one last question to you. So, you know, are there any other lessons that you want to share, by the way?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's just learn and grow. I mean, that's why I'm still learning. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll still be plenty of other lessons along the way. You guys have been absolutely amazing when it comes to lessons, just little tidbits I've taken away from your morning meetings and our conference call. And it's, as I said, I love it. I absolutely love everything about it. I mean, I took a lifestyle that I absolutely detested in the beginning, and like it's become part of my lifestyle. You know, I've adopted it into my lifestyle. My kids, we're going out for more walks. We're not just sitting around playing on tablets and watching TV all day. We're going out for walks or riding bikes. We're eliminating slowly, but we are eliminating more processed food out of the house and bringing in more whole foods. It's just been a whole life-changing experience.
So tell us, you're already like sub 200. Where do you want to go? Tell us about your ultimate goal. Let's talk about that. Where are we headed?
As far as weight loss, or
I believe that weight loss is the catalyst to your best life.
Okay. Well, my goal is to be at 140 pounds. I'm really fond of the six pack that you promised me. So we're gonna be working this year on the six pack.
Oh yeah.
But from there, anything that revolves around my life. I mean, the kids, you know, I'm getting them more active. Another big reason that, you know, a good reason to have started this weight loss is because my daughter was picking up my bad habits, and that she was in a higher percentile weight for her age group. So that was another kind of, you know, this is the lineage that I'm passing on to her. These are the lessons that I'm teaching her, that it's okay to do this and it's not. So she's been more involved with cooking and helping me and understanding exercise. She loves exercising with me. I'll put the videos, like your guys' videos, on the TV, and they all come in and they all want to work out. Like, it is the cutest thing ever. But I want the whole family to be involved in that. I know it's probably not going to happen 110%, but even if I can do 75% of their diet and lifestyle is a healthier version of it, then I'm happy. I am now actually taking courses to be a personal trainer. It's something that I feel like I can contribute and give back. I didn't think that I was able to reach it, and I know there's people out there who believe it too, who are in the same position that I am in or was in. So I feel like I want to be able to do something like that. I want to be able to train people and show them that, you know, you don't have to be scared of this lifestyle. I mean, just because it's foreign, it's something you've never done before. It's okay to feel awkward when you walk into the gym, because you're not the first person that has felt that uncomfortable feeling when you walk in, and like, especially as a woman walking into a room full of men, you know, that's very intimidating. It's very scary. And doing these classes I have, doing these classes, I found out that I absolutely love nutrition. So I want to go on and be a dietitian. COVID has kind of stopped everything because I can't get my paperwork together, but I'm hoping to get into classes real soon and start doing that.
That's amazing. It sounds like there is a rock in your house.
He had a cup on one of my cups on his.
Got it. So, you know, this is beautiful because this is the journey of paying it forward, right? And that is why, as women, I believe that it is our obligation to take care of ourselves. Because for one, when you learn to take care of yourself right, you've heard this from Kayla, right? You can take care of others better. And it's also a journey of paying it forward. You realize the power of it, that it has on our universe collectively. And if, you know, you can help yourself first and then help somebody else. Imagine if everybody in the world was to think that way, where we'll be in general right now, right? Every single year, the US government spends hundreds of $millions, right, to take care of sick people. The top 3 killers in the United States are chronic diseases that are all based off of lifestyle. Nutrition is medicine. Nutrition is the most abused drug. Food is the most abused drug and the most underused form of medicine. And, you know, I love where you're heading and I support it 100%. And I know that you're going to be amazing because where you're at right now is, I mean, for one, amazing. And like, you're not even like, you're just past the halfway mark. Who you're becoming is just so enlightening, and the lessons and the gifts that you'll be able to share with other women, I mean, there's nothing like it. And I believe that this is what this journey is all about. It's about doing it right so you can help somebody else do it right as well. And I support it at 100%, and I believe in you. But for anybody who's listening, it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. This is one thing that you have to understand for yourself. When you've achieved something that's noticeable, people are going to start believing in you. But the beginning is the hardest because nobody believes in you.
Yep.
And that's why it's so important for you to stick to your word and to understand why you're doing this. It's never about you. It's never about you. We weren't being put on this earth so we can watch Netflix and be lazy fucks. We all have a gift, and we were all being given an adversity so that we can overcome it and help somebody else. And that's exactly what Kayla is doing. And Kayla, I support you 100%, and I believe in you so much. And I'm sure that everybody in this room does too. You guys, thank you so much for showing up today. Kayla, thank you so much for showing up as well. I mean, man, this is amazing. I know that you'll keep us posted on your journey. So keep doing your thing, girl. And everybody else who's listening, take care of you today. Take care of you this weekend. Remember, failure does not define your character. It's just an event. So this is a long-term game for both of us. So just focus on taking a step forward every single day. That's the least that we can ask for. Have yourself an amazing weekend. I love you all, and we will see you on Monday at 6:30. Bye.
Bye.